Think about this. We just saw this in St. Louis. If you walk up to somebody who's on their own property and you wave a gun in their face and you threaten them and you say, I'm coming for you, I'm going to get you, that's fine. You're a peaceful protester as long as you have the right politics. But if you are the property owner whose life and whose family's life and whose property is being threatened, and you take out a gun and you say, I'm going to use this if you try to get me, that could be a crime. The McCloskeys, I spoke to Mark McCloskey, we played part of that interview yesterday. The McCloskeys is the guy in the pink polo shirt and the white chinos who defended their lives and property in St. Louis. They expect to be indicted. That's the rumor going around St. Louis. There's already been a search by the police of their home. Their weapons have been confiscated. It seems like only a matter of time. And everyone is cheering this on. Fortunately, the President of the United States can see through this absurdity, can see this injustice. He just came out and defended the McCloskeys.
And when you look at St. Louis with two people that came out, they were going to be beat up badly if they were lucky, okay? If they were lucky. They were going to be beat up badly, and the house was going to be totally ransacked and probably burned down like they tried to burn down churches. And these people were standing there, never used it, and they were legal, the weapons. And now I understand somebody local, they want to prosecute these people. It's a disgrace.
It is a disgrace, absolutely is. And this is a great use by the president of the bully pulpit to try to inject a little bit of common sense in here. And it's very interesting. I guess sign of the times we're living in. It's very interesting what President Trump will defend and what he will not defend. Because I thought when I saw Trump come out and defend the McCloskeys, I thought, this is it. This guy totally gets it. We talked yesterday on the show about how these seemingly trivial issues, oh, this little family in St. Louis, oh, this statue of George Washington or Christopher Columbus, who cares? It's just a little issue. It's no big deal. We got to talk about stuff of national importance, like tax rates or something. So it doesn't matter. And what President Trump realizes is what the character of the Queen's private secretary understands in The Crown, the TV show, which is that it's in the small things that the rot begins. It's in these seemingly trivial cultural matters, little story about a family in St. Louis, that the rot begins. And President Trump has a laser focus on that sort of stuff. President Trump realizes the importance of not giving an inch to the woke mob.
President Trump, back in 2015, you said the Confederate battle flag belongs in a museum. Do you still believe that?
All I say is freedom of speech. It's very simple. My attitude is freedom of speech. Very strong views on the Confederate flag. With me, it's freedom of speech. Very simple. Like it, don't like it, it's freedom of speech.
Would you be comfortable with your supporters displaying the Confederate battle flag at political events?
It depends on what your definition is, but I am comfortable with freedom of speech. It's very simple.
But you understand why the flag is a painful symbol for many people, because it's a reminder of slavery.
Well, people love it, and I know people that like the Confederate flag, and they're not thinking about slavery. I look at NASCAR, you go to NASCAR, you had those flags all over the place, they stopped it. I just think it's freedom of speech, whether it's Confederate flags or Black Lives Matter or anything else you want to talk about. It's freedom of speech.
I love how many times he said freedom of speech, because President Trump, we talk about how, he's got no message discipline, he's all over the place. This guy has been in the public eye since the late 1970s. He was at the top of network reality TV for 15 years. The guy knows how to communicate a message in public. I know that every armchair critic in America now thinks that they're a much better rhetorician and orator than Donald Trump, but they're not. The guy actually does know how to communicate. And he realizes that race is this incredibly touchy, divisive issue. There is great power to melanin, to quote Nick Cannon. He's right. There's great power of melanin here, because the left knows that if they can in any way tie in any piece of our history, any piece of our culture with the issue of race and smear it with the idea of racism, then they can get rid of it. They'll begin with the Confederate flag, because few people want to defend the Confederacy. My family, George Cobb Knowles, died at the Battle of Boynton Plank Road fighting for the Union. What do I care about the Confederacy? Well, I care about our history. And I care about people who want to totally overturn American history, and the arguments that they're making to overturn the Confederate flag and to tear it down are arguments that they will make to tear down the regular old American flag. By the way, they're already doing it. Colin Kaepernick already did it with the Star-Spangled Banner and, frankly, with the Betsy Ross flag, the original American Revolution flag. The same exact arguments. It goes this way back. President Trump, now 3 years ago, predicted it would happen. He said, you're talking about Robert E. Lee right now. You're talking about tearing down his statues. But very soon, you're going to be tearing down Thomas Jefferson and George Washington for the same reason. And it's already happening. That's already happening today. That is the power of melanin, the power of these people constantly trying to poke the race issue. That reporter, yeah, but isn't it offensive? A white reporter, by the way, saying, isn't it offensive? People are very offended. Trump goes, yeah, I don't think people are offended. I think people like it. It's not about slavery. Freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. There is not going to be a nice civil dialogue about this over the next 3 months at least. That's what the Barry Weiss letter is about. That's what people, even the liberals who are not totally radical left, who are leaving these institutions, that's what they're showing you. That's what the Harper's letter is about. These people who say, God, we can't do it. We can't do it anymore. There is no place for us. This is a brutal ideological battle, and we can't give an inch. Trump seems to know that, at least when he's following his best instincts. This thing goes really, really deep. It's not just laughing at a few professors or some stupid New York Times even. It goes really much deeper than that. It's all about November. This video is sponsored by BlinkSale, the revolutionary invoicing software for contractors and small businesses. Spend less time billing and more time making bank with BlinkSale. Get a free trial at the link in the video description.